There is a specialized wall system capable of heating your home in the winter and cooling it in the summer without using a single watt of electricity. No furnace, no air conditioner, and naturally, no monthly utility bills. All it requires is sunlight, concrete, and a pane of glass. This system was actually invented over 60 years ago. It passed rigorous testing by the US Department of Energy, had its efficiency validated by the Los Alamos National Laboratory, and has been successfully installed in thousands of homes across 3 continents. Yet, the heating and cooling industry joined forces to bury it. They stopped promoting it not because it was faulty or inefficient, but rather the opposite, because it worked too brilliantly. Think about it. How can they sell a service to collect monthly fees if a wall saves you the maximum amount on your electricity bill? In the business world, anything that doesn't generate recurring revenue is often not permitted to spread. This is the story of the wall that once warmed entire empires, and how the modern energy industry has made you completely forget it ever existed. To understand how a simple wall can completely replace a complex heating and cooling system, we must go back in time to ancient Rome. As early as the 1st century, Roman architects discovered something astounding about stone walls. They realized that if they built a thick wall facing south and painted it a dark color, it would absorb thermal energy from the sun all day long. Then, as night fell, all that stored heat would slowly radiate inward, warming the rooms for hours after sunset. These structures were known as thermal mass walls. No fuel, no fire, and no maintenance required. The wall itself operated like a perfect machine. Roman villas across the Mediterranean applied this principle for centuries. But it wasn't just the Romans who knew this secret. In Persia, architects built massive clay walls to absorb the scorching desert heat during the day and slowly release it during freezing winter nights. In China, the Kang heating system utilized stone walls and platforms to keep families warm through the harsh Mongolian winters. For thousands of years, ancient civilizations understood one fundamental truth. Walls are not just barriers, they are massive energy batteries. Fast forward to 1967. In a solar energy laboratory nestled in the Pyrenees Mountains, French engineer Félix Trombe was haunted by a single question. Why must we burn fuel to heat buildings when the sun provides Earth with more energy in 1 hour than all of humanity consumes in an entire year? To answer that, he collaborated with architect Jacques Michel. Together, they designed the most elegant and sophisticated heating system ever conceived. Its structure was astonishingly simple. A south-facing wall made of concrete or masonry 20 to 40 centimeters thick, painted a dark color. In front of it, a pane of glass was installed about 10 centimeters from the wall's surface, creating an airtight gap. Finally, vents were placed at the top and bottom of the wall to connect that air gap to the interior living space. That was it. That was the entire system. No moving parts, no wires, no fuel, no filters, and naturally, no need for a technician to ever come for maintenance. The principle works like this. Sunlight passes through the glass and strikes the dark wall directly. This wall absorbs up to 95% of that solar energy. The air trapped between the glass and the wall heats up rapidly, potentially reaching temperatures over 60 degrees Celsius, even on a sunny winter day. By natural law, the lighter hot air rises through the upper vents and flows into the living space. Simultaneously, cool air from the room is drawn in through the bottom vents to replace it. This process creates a continuous convection cycle, circulating warm air throughout your home all day long. But that is only half of the system's power. The rest lies in the thick concrete wall. It acts as a massive thermal battery, silently absorbing heat throughout the day. After the sun sets and the outdoor temperature drops, the wall begins to slowly release its stored heat into the house. You get 8 to 12 hours of continuous radiant warmth all night long without spending a single penny. Now, this is where the numbers truly start to make energy corporations restless. In the 1970s, amidst the oil crisis, the U.S. Department of Energy funded intensive research into this Trombe wall system. The Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico directly constructed and tested dozens of different prototypes. The results were staggering. A properly designed Trombe wall can meet 30% to 50% of a home's total heating demand. In sunny climates, this figure even leaps to 70%. A study from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory confirmed that in Albuquerque, this system cut annual heating energy consumption by 47% compared to conventional insulated walls. Imagine nearly half of your heating bill being wiped out just by a single wall. But Félix Trombe didn't stop there. He discovered that by simply adding operable exterior vents, this wall transforms into an air conditioner for the summer. By opening the exterior vents at night to cool the wall, then closing them and opening the interior vents during the day, the wall absorbs heat from the room, reducing the internal temperature by 6 to 8 degrees Celsius during peak heat hours, all without consuming a single watt of electricity. Scientific progress continues to upgrade its efficiency. Researchers at the University of Sheffield found that adding phase-change materials to the wall can increase its thermal storage capacity by 40%. Furthermore, scientists at MIT have calculated that if just 10% of households in the U.S. installed Trombe walls, the entire nation would save over 12 billion kilowatt hours per year, enough to power 1.2 million homes for an entire year. This technology has been proven, tested, and documented in hundreds of prestigious scientific papers. Yet, almost no homeowner knows of its existence. If you have followed along this far, you are now more knowledgeable about passive heating and cooling systems than 99% of the population. So why isn't this wall present in every home around the world? Why have architects gradually stopped teaching it? And why has your energy company never breathed a single word about it? The answer lies in this figure. The global heating, ventilation, and air conditioning industry generates over $240 billion every year, a staggering amount. That entire revenue stream depends entirely on one thing: your dependence on their machinery. Every furnace sold, every air conditioning unit installed, every filter replaced, or every technician visit is a money-making machine for them. Meanwhile, a concrete wall standing silently in the sunlight generates zero recurring revenue. You cannot sell a sunlight subscription to anyone. Furthermore, no one can patent concrete and glass. You cannot charge a monthly fee for the natural thermal retention properties of materials. This wall never fails because it has no parts to break. It requires no maintenance because there is nothing to fix. It never needs replacing because concrete can last for centuries. You only need to invest in its construction once, and your heating bill is cut in half forever. For the energy and equipment industries, a wall that can do everything for free is more than just competition. It is an existential threat. Their entire business model requires you to believe that home comfort must inherently depend on complex and expensive machinery. So, what actually happened? During the height of the 1970s oil crisis, governments poured massive funding into passive solar research. At that time, the United States, France, and Germany constructed thousands of homes utilizing Trombe walls. The technology was advancing at a breakneck pace. However, when oil prices collapsed in the 1980s, that funding vanished overnight. Research programs faced merciless budget cuts. University courses on passive solar design were struck from architecture curricula. Building codes were even rewritten to prioritize mechanical heating and cooling systems almost exclusively. The HVAC industry executed incredibly powerful and effective lobbying campaigns. By the 1990s, the Trombe wall had been nearly erased from mainstream construction knowledge. It was executed not because of technical failure, but because it caused the energy giants to lose out on massive profits. Today, architecture students graduate without perhaps ever hearing the name Felix Trombe. Contractors continue to diligently install heating and cooling systems worth thousands of dollars into homes that could have been warmed by a single wall. Ultimately, it is the homeowner who bears the burden of monthly bills for a problem that was thoroughly solved 60 years ago with concrete, glass, and sunlight. I must be honest with you about this. The Trombe wall is not a perfect miracle for every climate on Earth. In regions where winter offers almost no sunlight, its efficiency drops significantly. In humid tropical climates, controlling moisture buildup between the glass layer and the wall surface requires extremely careful design calculations to avoid mold. Furthermore, retrofitting an old house to install this system is much more complex than integrating it into a brand new build. However, for the vast majority of temperate and sunny climates where a large portion of the world's residential areas are concentrated, this technology still operates extremely effectively. This has been proven in practice time and time again. The limitations mentioned above are real, but they are entirely solvable through engineering. What is truly unacceptable is the deliberate suppression of sunlight and the hiding of such a sustainable solution simply for the sake of profit. Here is what you can start doing right now. If you are planning to build a new home or renovate your current residence, identify the south-facing wall, the spot that receives the most sunlight throughout the day. That is the perfect location for your Trombe wall. Build or reinforce that section with concrete or solid brick, maintaining a thickness of 20 to 40 centimeters. Do not forget to paint the exterior surface a matte black to maximize solar energy absorption. Then, install a pane of tempered glass about 10 centimeters from the wall surface and seal the edges. Finally, cut 2 rows of vents through the wall, 1 row near the floor and 1 near the ceiling, with each vent measuring approximately 10 centimeters in diameter. To operate it, you simply need to install basic dampers on these vents. In winter, open the interior vents and close the exterior ones. The convection cycle will automatically warm the house. In summer, do the opposite. Open the exterior vents at night to cool the wall and close them during the day. The wall will then act as a thermal cooling block for your living space. The total material cost for a wall section, measuring roughly 3 6M x 2 4M, falls between $500 and $1,500. Compare that to a new central air conditioning system costing $7,000 to $15,000. not to mention the hundreds of dollars in electricity and maintenance every year. The Trombe wall will pay for itself in the very first winter. Reality has proven this. A resident in New Mexico installed this system in his garage, and his heating bill dropped by 60% after just one season. For the past 3 years, he hasn't spent a single cent on maintenance. Similarly, a family in southern France renovated their farmhouse in 2019 and completely removed their electric heaters. Their home consistently stays between 18 degrees Celsius and 22 degrees Celsius year-round without any machinery. Felix Trombe passed away in 1985. During his final years, he had to endure the heartbreak of watching the very industry he once challenged systematically dismantle everything he had spent his life building. Funding was slashed, research projects were shelved, and his name, along with his legendary wall, was gradually erased from architectural textbooks. Yet, concrete does not forget. Glass does not forget. And the sun could not care less about the quarterly profit reports of corporations. This knowledge never died. It was merely buried. It was buried under a $240 billion heap of machines designed specifically to keep you in a state of constant dependence. But being buried does not mean being destroyed. Every Trombe wall you build is a barrier that the energy industry cannot cross to extract profit. Every home that heats and cools itself is a space that has escaped the grip of the system. We never truly lost this great heating solution. We simply stopped looking for it. If this treasure has revealed a valuable truth to you, please subscribe and share it immediately. Every share is more than just an act of spreading the word. It is how we work together to preserve the precious knowledge that they have spent so much effort trying to erase from the collective mind. The next treasure will be opened soon, and prepare yourself because what is hidden inside is even more substantial and shocking than what you have just heard.